The dead dwell here. This is their realm, and you've overstepped its bounds. But other things live here as well, equally concealed. So be mindful of your insolence, lest your fate be sealed.
The elder dragon Chameleos has always been a bit of a black sheep compared to its brothers Kushala and Teostra. No piercing roars, less aggressive, and uses curious and sneaky strategies to take down unsuspecting hunters. It's a lot less straightforward, and was even relegated to the backbench for the entire duration of Monster Hunter World's lifespan, poor thing. Now, however, the Invisible Thief is back in Rise, and with the PC version recently releasing, I'd like to take a look at the fight. For the past week or so, I've been learning, making notes, and practicing against Chameleos, all resulting in a speedrun time of 4 minutes and 10 seconds with Charge Blade. So, without further ado, I'm Symmetry, and here's the definitive guide to the most interesting fight in Monster Hunter Rise, Chameleos. Now remember, if you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing a comment, a like, or even a sub with me. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers, which is an amazing milestone I had never even imagined reaching, and every bit helps. Onto the guide. Chameleos is fairly standard Elder Dragon fare hit zone wise. His head and front legs activate weakness exploit, and his main elemental weakness is fire, with Dragon being a close second. He uses a heightened version of poison known as Venom, so make sure to pack herbal medicine if you find yourself getting smacked. What you really want to care about, however, are the unique mechanics you'll run into for this fight, since it's fairly important to get the fundamentals down. For example, with Zenoga, you want to stop it from charging up, and with Nawa, you want to aim for the stomach whenever you can damage it, and so on. With Chameleos, it's all about damage whilst invisible. During certain attacks or movements, Chameleos will disappear. If enough damage is dealt to the dude, you'll be rewarded with a huge stagger and a good amount of downtime. All damage dealt during invisibility carries over, so he can reappear and your attacks will still have counted. Additionally, there are a few moves where he is scripted to stay out of sight for your benefit, however make sure that you remember his tolerance seems to increase after a stagger, so plan accordingly. Another feature to be aware of is that Chameleos will counter you if he is staggered during attacks. You can predict this fairly easily, as after recoiling, he'll pretty much immediately disappear, and jump to your left or right when not enraged. The counter poison blast doesn't require guard up, but deals hefty damage, so keep an eye out if you choose not to position yourself out of the way. With that out of the way, and a clear understanding of what your steps to success are, let's move on to the notable attacks, starting with non-enraged state. The head swipe. Chameleos disappears, rears to the side and swipes his head along the ground once. He'll remain invisible for a few seconds after the attack ends, so this is prime time to get some damage in. You can also roll twice away from his head to create enough distance, as his head lowers during this attack for prime punishing. It also does have a tendency to push you towards his head if you choose to guard it, but if you're too close you can end up by the stomach, so create just a little bit of distance if you want to guard or roll through. The slam. You want invisibility damage? This is your move. Cammy rears up whilst invisible and slams down once before lying down for a bit. Just roll away and get ready to dodge when he reappears, as this is the main tell for the attack. The tracking isn't too rough however, so you should be fine if you make some distance. The circle poison attack. This one's pretty rare, but you can tell it's coming by the little dance that Chameleos does. Afterwards, he'll jump up, spit poison that covers a ring around him and land. It doesn't get too crazy outside of rage mode, so just block or sheath and wirebug up to avoid it, and it's a good opportunity to get some invisibility damage off as he sits there for a while. The claw swipe combo. This combo is where Chameleos will pull his arm back slowly and then swipe the ground. It has 2 hitboxes this attack, so single guards or rolling through will not serve you well here. The follow-up attack will depend on your distance to Chameleos. If you're close, he'll pause and swing his tongue at you twice, and if you're far, he'll shoot the tongue out once with deceptive speed. To avoid this, simply just get close to his flank. The Poison Wave. The Poison Wave is interesting. It teaches you how your hunter interacts with various attacks via their hitbox. You see, after the poison spit, as it lands, provided you either roll through or guard any part of this attack or interact with it in any way, from then on, it cannot hurt you. This is very useful knowledge as Chameleos will take forever to complete this move, meaning you can just wail on him until he waves his wings for a second time. Additionally, it means that any lingering poison clouds will not harm you if you've guarded successfully. Now, there is a lot to keep track of, but with familiarity you'll get a good idea of these attacks and what's coming next. We're going to go on to Rage Mode attacks now. You see, Chameleos will often double up or slightly adjust his combos, meaning you have to pay close attention to his status and make sure that you don't overcommit when he's angry. Remember as well that his chest does become a weak point in Rage, so use that to your advantage. Firstly, the head swipe attack doubles up. He'll now move forward again whilst bringing his head back around a second time. Here, 3 rolls away from him is enough spacing to get away. You've just got to be quick about it. And the slow claw attack I mentioned before now ends with a fast jet of poison instead of a tongue attack. Once Chameleos goes invisible, you can roll either towards or directly to the side of him. As long as you hug the belly, the move should pass right over you if you choose to move towards him. Now with the circle poison attack, the only change is that Chameleos will now land outside of the ring of poison, which instead will close in on you. If you don't have a shield, just sheath and wirebug up. You should have ample time to do so when he's dancing around, and there's a good period of invisibility damage you can get if you get close to Chameleos as he lands. Those are the notable changes for Rage Mode attacks. Now all this talk about Rage Mode will lead me into a scripted sequence that occurs when Chameleos is about to leave it. He'll do a similar animation, spewing smoke into the sky, and the camera will zoom out slightly. It's incredibly important to note that when he turns invisible after this, his topple threshold is massively reduced, and it is very, very important, almost vital, that you stagger him at this point. If you fail, your reward is a massive AoE venom attack as well as a double poison burst for huge damage, and it's incredibly likely to cause a cart. Pay attention to the dust clouds to see if he jumps to the left or right, and remember that with that jump he will make more distance whilst moving, so close that gap fast. On to the next topic. Desperation moves are really just fancy words for when Chameleos is low on health and changes a few patterns. It could be tied to the Hornbreak, however I can't 100% clarify that yet as I haven't explicitly tested that. However, a couple of moves change slightly, and this first one will probably lead you to an unwanted death. You see, in this state, Chameleos will do the slam attack twice in a row. Unless you have very specific guard arts such as Charge Blade, Gun Lance, or even Lance, distancing yourself from the first slam is going to be your best play. I see this most commonly after the first Rage Mode ends, but please be aware that's usually in a speedrun environment, and it's probably not going to be reflected in casual gameplay. And the Poison Spit attack that we've mentioned a couple of times before has a chance for Chameleos to do the head smash attack afterwards, albeit incredibly rarely. Even in Rage Mode, he will only do the head smash once. It's more of a footnote than anything. Speaking of footnotes, if you see the tail slam attack, you've got the worst attack out of the bunch. Annoying wind pressure, takes a lot of time, stupid range, I hate it so much, it's such a time waste, you've just got to get to his head. Even that's not available for you. Chameleos has been the most interesting monster to speedrun thus far in Rise, truly. The problem with speedrunning monsters that you enjoy is that due to the nature of grinding out speedruns, you end up hating them after a while. I had the same thing with Magnamalo, I even had that with Apex Mizutsune. Both incredibly entertaining and enjoyable fights, but the grind wears you down and you end up hating them. The way, however, that Chameleos seems to be incredibly insurmountable, however in clear attack patterns and behaviour, really do start to appear once you familiarise yourself. Now you combine that with fair openings and even creative counterattacks that really force you to respect his combo chains becomes apparent after running this fight for a while. It's wonderful. It's an amazing balance of attack pressure and monster pressure versus the hunter's opportunities, and it didn't take me until the PC release to really appreciate. I suppose that speaks more towards how good PC is for speedrunning now, but that's another topic altogether. Anyways, we've come to the end of the guide now. I don't often do full guides like this, whether it's for weapons or specific monsters, but I have had a lot of fun running Chameleos, and I wanted to share my findings with all of you. If this helped, once again, please consider showing your support with the likes, the comments, all that good stuff. And if you'd like to see a guide or a speedrun for a specific monster, you can check me out on Twitch when I'm streaming live. Most days, I'll usually announce it via my Twitter, which you can also contact me on. This has been a very enjoyable experience, and one of the main satisfactions I get out of speedrunning is that point where it all just clicks. You understand what moves come next, you understand your responses and what you need to do to get the most damage out, and I hope you will too. Chameleos is the most interesting single fight in Rise, and I love to hear how you get on after watching this, so again let me know. Enjoy the guide lads, I'll see you all next time.